Morning. Their adventure with the saucepan. The three brownies ran up to the jingling jangling little man. "Hello," cried Hop. "Are you the saucepan man?" The little man looked at him inquiringly. "Hey," he said, "what did you say?" "Are you the saucepan man?" bawled Hop over the jingling of scores of saucepans. "No, I ain't got the sausage pan," answered the saucepan man, shaking his head so that the saucepans rattled tremendously. "Sausage pan? I never said a word about a sausage pan," said Hop in surprise. "I said, are you the saucepan man?" "I tell you I ain't got a sausage pan," said the little man crossly. "I only sell saucepans, I do." "He's deaf," said Skip, "and I don't wonder with all those saucepans jangling around him all day." Hop tried again. "Are you the saucepan man?" he bawled. "Can you hear me when I shout?" "Yes, I think there's rain about," said the saucepan man, looking up at the sky wisely. "Come before evening too, likely enough." "You try, Skip," said Hop, quite out of breath. "Where are you going?" shouted Skip. "Now don't be silly," answered the saucepan man sharply. "'Tain't snowing and you can see it ain't. Don't tell me any fairy tales like that." "Can we go home with you?" asked Jump in his most enormous voice. "No, my boots ain't new, but what's that got to do with you, I'd like to know," said the little man, looking crosser and crosser. "Oh, buttons and buttercups," sighed Hop. "We'll never make him hear while he's got all those saucepans jangling around him. Let's follow him and see if he's going home. Then if he takes off his saucepans, we'll try again then." So the three brownies trotted behind the saucepan man, back down the lane again and round by the station. There they saw the station master and the porter staring in great astonishment at the empty engine standing all by itself in the station. "Gracious," said Hop, "let's hope we don't get asked any awkward questions." The station master saw them coming and immediately rushed over to them. "Pretend we don't understand," said Hop quickly to the others. "If we talk a lot of rubbish, he'll soon let us go." "Hi, hi," called the station master. "Do you know anything about this engine?" Nobody answered anything. "Are you dumb?" asked the station master angrily. "Come now, do you know anything about this engine, I say?" "Callamacoo, chickary-chee," answered Hop solemnly. "Crick, crick," said Skip. "Caw," said Jump. "They don't know anything, that's certain," said the station master to the porter. "They're foreigners." "Tiny jug, jug, jug," said Hop in an inquiring voice. "It's all right," said the station master. "I don't understand you. I'll have a word with the saucepan man chap." "Caw, caw," said Jump, and nearly made the others giggle. The station master poked the saucepan man in the ribs. "Hi," he cried. "Do you know anything about this engine?" "My name ain't Benjamin, and kindly take your fingers out of my waistcoat," said the saucepan man huffily. The station master groaned. "Come on," he said to the porter. "They're quite mad. Too bad to know anything about an engine anyway." They went off to the station again, and the three brownies breathed freely once more. "That was a near squeak," said Hop. "Come on, let's follow the saucepan man." On they went again, until at last the saucepan man came to a little tumble-down cottage called Saucepan Cottage. It had old saucepans for its chimneys, and looked the funniest little place the brownies had ever seen. They followed the saucepan man inside. He looked at them in surprise. "What do you want?" he asked. Hop suddenly saw that the table was very dusty. He quickly wrote it on with his finger. "We are three brownies who want to know the way to Witchland," he wrote. "The very wise man told us to ask the saucepan man the way. Are you the saucepan man?" "Course I am," said the little man. "Can't you see that? Anyway, I don't know why you didn't ask me in the road instead of talking about saucepans and the weather." He took off his saucepans and clattered them into a corner. Hold on, let me just get Ted in. "I can tell you the way to Witchland, all right," he said. "In fact, I'm on my way there tomorrow. You better come with me, you'll be safe then. Witches don't touch me, they don't." "Why not?" asked Hop. "Feel hot, do you?" said the little man. "Well, open the window then." Hop sighed. It really was very difficult talking to the saucepan man. He tried again. "May we spend the night here?" he asked in his loudest voice. "What's the matter with my right ear?" said the saucepan, looking into the looking glass and peering into it. "Nothing at all. Don't be saucy, young man." "I can't stand this," groaned Hop to the others. "Haven't you got a notebook that you can write in?" "Yes, I have," cried Skip, pulling out an old notebook and a stumpy pencil. "Here you are. Write in this, Hop." Hop quickly wrote down his questions and showed them to the saucepan. "Yes, you can stay here for the night," said the little man, "and I'll take you with me tomorrow. Find the cocoa tin now and make some cocoa while I boil some eggs and make some toast." The brownies hunted out for the cocoa, filled one of the many saucepans with milk and put it on the fire to boil. Soon the four were enjoying boiled eggs, toast and cocoa, and the brownies began to think the saucepan was a very jolly little man, for although he couldn't hear very well, he could tell lots of funny tales. "Now, to bed," he said at last. "We've a long way to go tomorrow and we must be up bedtimes." He showed them a bedroom with a big bed in it and said goodnight and shut the door. "Well, I really feel we're on the way to find the Princess Peril now," said Hop as he got into bed. "Yes, if the saucepan takes us to Witchland, we've only got to find out where Witch Green Eyes lives and then make up a plan to rescue her," said Skip sleepily. "Well, good night," said Jump, yawning. All the brownies lay down and fell fast asleep. In the morning, the saucepan woke them and they started off on their journey. They walked for miles across the country, calling at little cottages on the way and selling saucepans. Soon Hop had a good idea. He took out his little notebook and wrote in it. "Let us carry your saucepans for you for a little while," Hop wrote. "You must be very tired, for the sun is hot." The saucepan gladly took off all his saucepans and gave them to the three brownies. They divided them up between them, and off they all went again, clinking and clanking for all the world as if they were saucepanmen themselves. Suddenly, as they were going along, a great shadow came over them and made everything dark. The brownies looked up and saw an enormous yellow bird hovering over them. The saucepanman gave a frightened yell. "Run," he said, "run! It's the dragon bird that belongs to the golden dwarf. Don't let him get you." The brownies sped away to some trees. The saucepanman didn't seem to know where to go. He ran forwards and backwards and sideways, and all the time the dragon bird hovered overhead like a great hawk. Then, zzz, it swooped downwards so fast that its feathers made a singing noise. The brownies saw it get hold of the poor little saucepanman, and then the dragon bird rose into the air, taking him in its talons. Oh my, cried Hop in despair. It's got him. Poor little saucepanman, sobbed Skip, tears pouring down his face. "Look, it's flying towards the hill over yonder," said Jump. The brownies watched. On the top of the faraway hill was a castle. The dragon bird flew to the highest window there, landed, and disappeared into the castle. "Now, what are we going to do?" said Hop mournfully. "We can't go on and leave him," said Skip, drying his eyes. "Besides, we've got his saucepans." "Oh, isn't it bad luck that this should happen just as we are really on our way to Witchland?" sighed Jump. "Look at that signpost there. It says, 'This way to Witchland' on it." "Well, we'd better go over that hill over there," said Skip bravely. "We might be able to rescue the saucepan somehow. We simply can't leave him to the dragon bird and the golden dwarf." "Come on then," said Hop, and off they all went, keeping a very sharp lookout in case the dragon bird came back again. The hill was very much farther away than it looked. All the afternoon the brownies travelled, their saucepans clanking and jingling at every step. "No wonder the saucepan is so deaf," said Hop. "It's all I can do to hear myself speak with all this noise going on." Presently they came to a little cottage. "Let's knock at the door," said Skip, "and see if we can get some food in exchange for a saucepan. I'm really hungry." They knocked. A dwarf opened the door and peered at them. "What do you want?" he said. "Do you want any saucepans?" asked Hop. "We've got some fine ones here." "How much?" asked the dwarf. "We'll give you a big one if you give us a loaf and some milk," said Hop. The dwarf fetched them 3 cups of milk and a loaf of bread. "Here you are," he said. "Now give me your biggest saucepan." Hop gave him a fine blue saucepan. is in that castle over there on the hill?" he asked. "The Golden Dwarf," answered their customer. "Don't go there or you'll be captured by the dragon bird." "Why does the Golden Dwarf capture people?" asked Skip. "To eat," answered the dwarf. "Didn't you know that? Ah, he's a terrible fellow, the Golden Dwarf is, I can tell you. There's only one word that will stop him in his evil ways. But as he lives up there, high in his castle, that nobody can enter, he's safe." "What's the word?" asked Hop interestedly. "Ho, ho! Don't you wish you could use it on the Golden Dwarf?" laughed the dwarf. "Well, I'll tell you. It's Carol Mysticuta Limmacornaquito." "Buttons and buttercups," said Hop. "I'll never be able to say that." "We'll split it into 3 and each of us can remember a bit of it," said Skip cleverly. The dwarf laughed and said the long word again. Hop said the first piece over and over to himself, while Skip said the middle bit, and Jump repeated the last bit. "Much good it'll do you," said the dwarf. Why no one's ever even seen the Golden Dwarf since I've lived here, and I've been here 143 years come next November." The brownies sighed. Things seemed very difficult. They said goodbye and left the cottage behind them. "Is it any good going to the castle?" said Jump, who was beginning to feel very down in the dumps. "Suppose we all get caught and eaten?" "Cheer up," said Hop. "You can only get eaten once, you know." "Don't be silly," said Jump crossly. "I don't want to be eaten even once." "Shh," said Skip. "We're getting near the castle. Better keep a good lookout." "Bother the clanking saucepans," said Hop. "Shall we take them off and leave them here?" "No," said Skip. "If that horrid dragon bird appears again, we'll pretend we're just a heap of old tins and maybe it won't see us then." Just as he spoke, a shadow fell over them again. At once, the 3 sank down onto the ground beneath their saucepans and lay quite still. The shadow grew blacker, and at last the dragon bird landed by them with a flop. It pecked at Skip's saucepans and dented them badly. Then it spread its wings, rose into the air and flew away again. "Oh, my stars," said Jump, shaking like a jelly. "This is the sort of adventure that doesn't agree with me at all. Has that horrid bird gone?" "Yes," said Hop. "It's a nasty looking thing too, I can tell you. It's got scales as well as feathers and a long tail. It must have thought we were piles of saucepans." "Come on while we're safe," said Skip. They ran towards the castle and, panting and breathless, flung themselves down at the foot of it. "Isn't it a funny colour?" said Hop, looking at it closely. "It looks just like toffee." Skip broke a piece off and licked it. "It is toffee," he said. "My gracious, fancy a castle built of toffee." "Toffee?" cried Jump in delight. "I say, how lovely! I'm going to have a jolly big bit." He broke off a fine fat piece and began chewing it. It was delicious. "I suppose it was built by magic," said Hop. "I can't imagine people building it, can you? They'd be terribly sticky." "Well, don't let's forget about the saucepan," said Skip, looking around about him. "I expect he's feeling very lonely and afraid." "Let's explore round the outside of the castle," said Hop. "Maybe we can find some way of getting in then." Off went the brownies after having carefully taken off the saucepans and hidden them under a bush. They were afraid that the Golden Dwarf might hear the clanking if they carried them about. They marched off around the toffee castle, looking everywhere for a window or a door. Not one was to be seen. "Goodness," said Hop at last. "No wonder nobody ever sees the Golden Dwarf if there's no windows and no door on the ground floor." "I don't believe there's any way of getting into the castle at all except by that window right at the very top," said Skip, craning his neck to see it. He was right. Not a door was to be seen, and no windows either, except the big one set right at the very top of the castle, where the dragon bird had flown in with the saucepan man. The brownies came back to their saucepans and sat down under the bush. "Well, this is a puzzle," said Hop. "We haven't a ladder and there's no door, so how can we ever get in?" "We can't," said Jump. "The only thing left to do is to go back to that signpost and take the road to Witchland." "What, and leave the poor old saucepan man to be eaten by the Golden Dwarf?" cried Skip, who was very tender-hearted. "After he's been so very kind to us too." The others looked uncomfortable. They didn't like leaving their friend behind, but they didn't really see what else there was to do. Listen, said Skip. If you want something badly enough, you're sure to find a way. Now, let's just keep quiet and think very, very hard. The three brownies put their heads on their hands and shut their eyes and thought. They thought and they thought and they thought. The sun went down. Still the brownies thought. The moon came up. And still the brownies thought. Then Hop raised his head. If only we could get something to climb up the wall with, he said. But we haven't anything at all. Except silly saucepans, said Jump mournfully. Yeah, saucepans, repeated Hop. Then his eyes widened as a big thought came into his head. Saucepans, he said again and chuckled. Then he got up and did a little dance of joy. Skip and Jump stared at him in astonishment. Are you going mad, Hop? Asked Skip. Or do you feel a bit ill? Asked Jump. No, I'm not mad and I'm not ill. I've only got that dancey feeling when you get a suddenly perfectly splendid idea. What is it? Asked Skip and Jump together. Well, here we've been groaning and moaning because we've got nothing to get us up the castle wall, said Hop. And we're the very best thing in the world to get up there, the saucepans. Whatever do you mean? Asked Skip. This is what I mean, said Hop, and he picked up a saucepan. He held it upside down and drove the handle into the toffee wall. It went in quite easily and stayed there, for the toffee held it tight. One step up, said Hop, and picked up another saucepan. He pushed the handle of that one in a little way above the first one. 2 steps up, he cried. Now do you see the idea? Oh, yes, cried the two. What a good plan, Hop. We can climb up the saucepans if only the handles will hold all right. The toffee will hold them, laughed Hop, who was beginning to feel very excited. And one by one the saucepan handles were driven into the wall, so that every saucepan made a step higher than the last. They were quite firm and steady, and as the brownies were little and light, there was no fear of the steps breaking. Higher and higher they went until they'd almost reached the window at the top. Jump carried the saucepans that were left and passed them one by one to Skip, who passed them to Hop, who drove the handles into the wall. What a mercy we have so many saucepans, whispered Skip. Yes, wasn't it, said Hop. I say we're nearly at the top. Suppose the golden dwarf leans at the window and sees us. We'll say the magic word, said Skip. I know my bit all right. And I know mine, said Jump. Well, we'll have to join the bits on very quickly when we say it, said Skip, or else it won't sound like a word. Perhaps you'd better practice it before we go any further. Hurry up then, said Skip. I'm not very anxious to hang on to these saucepans all night. Hop said his part of the magic word, Skip said the middle, and Jump joined in quickly with the end. After 7 or 8 times they managed to do it perfectly, and Hop thought they might go on. They had just enough saucepans to reach the window ledge. At last Hop could peep over it and look into the room. He saw a large room hung with golden curtains and spread with a golden carpet. In the middle of it, sitting on a stool, was the saucepan man, looking the picture of misery. He was all alone. Good, said Hop, and whispered what he saw to the others. Then he peered over the ledge again. The saucepan man looked up, and when he saw Hop, he fell off his stool in astonishment. I must be dreaming, he said, and pinched himself very hard. Ow, he said. No, I'm not. He ran over to the window. Help me over, said Hop. We've come to rescue you. The saucepan man hauled him into the room, and then they helped Skip and Jump. Quickly, Hop wrote on his notebook to tell the saucepan man how they'd come to him. You'd better escape at once with us, wrote Hop, for there's no knowing what an awful dragonbird. Sorry, it's not knowing when that awful dragonbird will appear again, or the golden dwarf. Oh, don't talk of them, begged the saucepan man. I shall never forget being carried off in those talons. When I got here, the golden dwarf came and looked at me and said I wouldn't be plump enough to eat for a whole week. Brownie shivered. Come on, said Hop, running to the window. Let's escape while we can. He had just got one leg over the windowsill when the heavy footfalls outside the door made his hair stand on end. "Oh," whispered the saucepan, "hide quick, it's the golden dwarf." The brownies dived behind one of the curtains just as the door opened. In came a queer creature, not much bigger than the brownies, who looked as if he were made of solid gold. Hop thought he looked more like a statue than a live person. "I smell brownies," said the golden dwarf suddenly and sniffed the air. The 3 brownies trembled. "Remember the magic word," whispered Hop anxiously. "It's our only chance." "I smell brownies," said the golden dwarf again, and he strode over to the shaking curtain. He pulled it aside. Out sprang Hop, Skip and Jump. "Carol a Misty," shouted Hop. "Kula Matar, Cornikito," finished Jump. The golden dwarf stared at them in terror. The word," he cried and pulled at his hair. Then he uttered a deep groan and jumped into the air and vanished completely. The brownies and the saucepan stared at the place where the golden dwarf had stood. Nothing happened. He didn't come back. "You've done the trick," said the saucepan. "He's gone for good." "Hurrah!" cried Hop. "Thank goodness we remembered the magic word. Come on, saucepan, let's get away from this horrid castle." Over the windowsill they clambered and were soon scrambling down the saucepans as fast as they could. "We leave them there," said the saucepan. "I don't want to waste any more time here in case that dragon bird comes back." So off they all went in the moonlight to the signpost pointing to Witchland. And the next chapter is their adventure with the labeller and the bottler.